Hello, this is Pablo with Meditation Amsterdam, and today I wanted to do a very quick reflection on problems and why we actually love our problems. And this was out of a quote that I found once again in this book, The Doors of Perception by Aldous Huxley, who is really a great writer. And he's writing about how we actually shrink from reality. So I'm going to read you the quote. It says, in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, where the departed soul is described as shrinking in agony from the clear light of the void, and even from the lesser tempered lights, in order to rush headlong into the comforting darkness of selfhood as a reborn human being, or even as a beast, an unhappy ghost, a denizen of hell. Anything rather than the burning brightness of unmitigated reality. Anything. And so this is, I just bought myself the Tibetan Book of the Dead, by the way. I haven't read it, but whether you consider it allegorical or literal, the message is trying to convey is the following. You are living in this limited body and this limited concept of the self, or the little me, the egoic me, if you will. And it's a construct, right? It's a fabrication of your psyche. It doesn't really exist in practice. It's kind of a bundling of different things, and then you give it a name and you call it me. But that me is conceptual. And part of the thing that makes you like this me is that it gives you a sense of solidity and a sense of concreteness, right? Because you can point your finger at the me, right? I have these ideas. This is me. Is this me with these ideas? Is the me with this story? Is the me with this body? And part of the things that come with that me is problems. My problems, right? And in fact, Eckhart Tolle makes a big point about how the ego, when the ego is trying to separate itself from everything, and it'll do so by any means available. So it'll typically try to put itself above other people or other situations. They're like, well, I'm superior because this and this and that. But when the superior things are not available to you, you'll make yourself inferior to other people or situations. And that'll equally create the separation. So these are my problems. So he makes this joke of saying, oh, you think you have problems? I've been having problems for years, right? And mine problems are bigger than your problems, and they're more interesting, and so on. So it's yet that attempt of creating separation. Now, I would argue that we are, in some sense, as in love with our problems, and that's one of the reasons that they persist. It is because of our problems that we find it easy to define ourselves in concrete terms, right? So our problems are nothing other than the boundaries that we have defined for this sense of the egoic self. And so we are in love with them to the degree that we are in love with our egoic self, and we are not letting go of our problems to the extent that we are not willing to let go of the egoic self in order to embrace the higher self. And that's perfectly understandable. Now, I've had the experience of all my problems dissolving after a 10-day Vipassana retreat. And I can confirm that it was one of the scariest experiences that I've had, because all my problems were gone, but by definition, so was I. So my problems had been resolved, didn't have a care in the world. I was just really in the moment doing my thing. But you can only do that if you don't know who you are as a individual egoic person that's concretely defined. And that is that's why this process should be progressive. If you go through that too fast, it just scares the hell out of you. So it doesn't normally feel that way. We feel that we can solve all our problems and yet retain our same sense of self. The person that we are can be preserved whilst all the things that we call problems and the conditions, all the external conditions are eliminated or improved. But that is, of course, impossible. You can't eliminate your problems without eliminating the part of the self that is creating them, because there are in fact no problems. All there is situations out of which we make a problem because of the self-image that we have. And so if you want to turn a problem into just a situation, your self-image needs to be dissolved in that area of life. And if you want to dissolve all your problems, you need to dissolve your whole self. How about that? And how many people are willing to do that, I ask you? I would say very, very few. I'd say that we are enamored with the little persona that we've created to help us interact with the world in a safe and coherent manner, if you will. So that we are, as humans, asked to pull off the ultimate trick. It's a very tall order spiritual advancement, because you are born a caterpillar and you spend the first half of your life making that caterpillar as able, as knowledgeable, as healthy, as beautiful, as social, as loving and kind as possible. As loving and kind as a caterpillar can be, which is not a lot in Buddhist terms. But so the first half of your life, all you do is take this caterpillar, you build it up, you build it up, and you build it up until it could become, in fact, quite a magnificent caterpillar, right? It could have it all in caterpillar terms. And yet there comes a point where that caterpillar is asked to take all that and simply let go of it. And the caterpillar goes like, well, hell no, fucks no. I don't want to let go of all my cool caterpillar shit, right? I mean, I'm awesome. I'm an awesome caterpillar. Look how strong I am. I can lift these branches here, you know. I have all these things and they're cool. And yeah, I have all these problems, but you know, I'm working really hard to solve them. All these caterpillar problems I'm trying to solve. And it is ironic, and it's a fair analogy as well, because it is impossible for the caterpillar to even imagine what it's like to be a butterfly. It's like it doesn't fit in a caterpillar brain. And the same goes for spiritual realization or self-realization and enlightenment, is that we exercise and become utterly identified with our logical mind. We build it up, we fill it with awesome information, and its memory is full of facts and knowledge, and we acquire emotional intelligence, and that means that we're empathic and we know how to interact and all these cool things. But all of that is nothing compared to what happens the moment we become awakened. And as that awakening grows into a full enlightenment, of course, which is the full-blown butterfly, you know, that is something that cannot be grasped by the logical mind, because the logical mind is thinking and doing, and dissatisfaction and parceling things out and cutting them in tiny chunks that can be understood and so on. And enlightenment is not about doing, it's pure being, it's the essence of being, and it is unifying as opposed to dissecting. So they are very exclusive exercises in that sense, and it is impossible for the logical mind to grasp that, as it is as impossible as it is for a caterpillar to even grasp or imagine what a butterfly is, or what it would feel like to be a butterfly. It's out of his scope, so completely out of his scope. But because it doesn't know, then it is very natural for the caterpillar to hold on tight to its personality with all its pluses and minuses, and therefore the problems remain stuck, right? So for the problems to unstick, you need to unstick from the grip that you have on your little me, on your personal self, through things like meditation, through things like body work and breath work, right? All these, they start to soften up the mind. The plasticity comes back, neuroplasticity, the thing that you have when you're a kid, right? Your ability to believe in things or to step out of your current mental reality and to project yourself into a new reality that you can work towards, so that your inner reality is no longer affected by the perceptual milieu that you're surrounded by, including your thoughts, is what you cultivate, and you also cultivate this stability of mind. So when the brain of the caterpillar for some reason becomes totally at peace, suddenly butterfly consciousness sort of peeks its head, and then the caterpillar goes like, oh, what was that? That was so peaceful. I was so tranquil. I didn't need anything. I felt like I was on top of the world and yet connected with it. And what was that? I want more of that. So that utter peace that you cultivate that shuts down the logical mind or the caterpillar mind is the thing that allows suddenly a glimpse of the butterfly consciousness to be grasped. And then you say to yourself, I think I understand what this is about. And then it's just a matter of cultivating it. It's a matter of having it become cemented in the way your mind operates. And so there you have it. But before you have done that kind of work, chances are that despite the fact that you are perhaps complaining or dissatisfied with all your problems, what you need to understand is that your problems are simply situations that you frame as a problem because of the limitations of the small self. Literally, if you subscribe to this idea that you are one with everything, right? But that you can't perceive it because you have framed yourself, so your consciousness has become localized in this mind body. The walls of that mind body, the thing that makes you have coherence and integrity, so to speak, are the same things that keep it trapped, right? So it's like a scaffolding. You build it so that you can operate healthily in the world, but it also becomes trapped. So your need for completeness and freedom is trumped by your need for security and defining yourself in a solid and inflexible kind of way. And when you have a problem or you dislike a person or a situation, what is happening is, here's greater reality, and here's you going out like, oh, I want to experience greater reality, and then you go, oh my God, this is a problem that prevents me from feeling okay with the world and just being loving and cool. But the problem is not outside. The problem is the wall in your sense of self that is preventing you from connecting with greater reality. Anyway, that's a thought about problems and why I think that we actually love our problems, because we love ourselves, small selves, and that the moment we give up the love for the small self to embrace the love for the higher self, then the problems start to dissolve on their own because they were simply a reflection of that self-image. Hope that helps. This was Meditation Amsterdam, and I'll make another video soon. Cheers.